Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. Yeah, with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
Aaron, it's the final round of the group stages before we have to say goodbye to 16 of these teams. Hopefully, our team isn't one of them. I say our team. You're wearing the colours of a different team. Our mortal enemies for this week. What's the crack there?
Two reasons. One is I had a feeling you were going to wear this top, and so I'm trying to wear Christmas colours.
Yeah, fair enough.
Second, I'm trying to grade and curse AC Milan. And so I'm going to really, really talk up AC Milan today.
Yeah. I mean, they are going to need some talking up for us to get out of our little slump, but hopefully it is just an away slump. We are recording after Newcastle's defeat to Tottenham today. Bit of a tough one to take. But first of all, we are going to talk about last match day, how we got on, how badly we did. Did you do all right?
Yeah.
Who knows? Did you do all right? Come on, then let's hear about it. Scum.
So I took a -4.
Very unlike you.
But that was so I could get Saka.
Oh, well done.
So the transfers were... Also, have I got them up ready? Vinicius Jr. out, Sane out, and Bastoni out.
Yeah, good.
I
good
brought
break.
in Saka and Mbappe.
Good.
And I was then going to go Rico Lewis. But then I was like, I've got a million left. So I was like, let's go a little bit of interest. I went for Hummels. So Hummels in his 8 points.
Well done.
So I ended up being a 3-5-2 in the end. So it was Blaswich in goal with 5, Cancelo 14, Hummels 8, Hakimi 3, Saka 24, obviously captain, Bellingham 14, Kimmich 5, Gordon 2, Simons 5, Kane 2, Mbappe. I've never been so mad at a 6. I would have took a 2 all day long.
I know. It feels like so long ago since that game, since the controversy of it. How many points did you get overall?
88.
And where does that put you rank-wise?
I did oh, wow, that's a big green arrow. Sorry, Dan. 54,000.
This is a lot less fun now that you're good and I'm bad. This is a lot less fun. So I got 55 points, just giving up at this point. I brought in Wilfred Zaha for him to be the one to dodge points. I mean, he's hit the bar, he's missed a couple of sitters as well. Actacoglu even scored off the bench, but it was Ziyech, the other guy on the other wing, that got all of the points, goals, assists, the lot. Nerds call it variance. It's what it is, isn't it? I also brought in Haaland. So it was fine. You got 6 points. But in terms of the rest of my team that played, Riznik, one of my highest scorers with 6 points for 4 million goalkeeper. Munoz with another 6, but he's now a problem. Basagli with 2, Di Lorenzo with 5, Kvaratskhelia dodging more points, 2, Bellingham with 14, Zaha with 2, Brace Mendes with 3. He's not done anything since I brought him in. I've jinxed him. Xavi Simons, 5 points, Haaland 6, and then Kane's whopping 2 points, double to 4.
It's miserable.
Yeah, 460k. I'm just in it for pants now. That's it. But yeah, it is what it is. I think if I totaled up all of my ranks, each total together, I'm good nowhere near this.
Yeah, it's true. I trying to think back to you, like through the episodes that we've done, and I'm like, almost like, where did it go wrong? So where do you think your seasons went wrong?
I mean, from match day 1, I think from match day 1 it was a bad start, and I got the plan. I can name different points. Match day 1, the plan was wrong. I should have set up a normal team to then wildcard in 3 or 4 and then still have a chip to play. That's what I should have done. From there, I took that minus. I think I played a limitless that went badly. My actual wildcard didn't go too great, but the minus 12 that I took in match day 4, that could have been a -4. And if that went right, I would have had a massive score. That was a 100-point week for me down the bin, down the toilet, even. Down the bin's not a phrase. In the bin or down the toilet.
That phrase just summed up your season. That doesn't exist.
So yeah, like I've had. Look, people say whatever. Like we've never ever pretended to be good players. We kind of just like the game, like talking about. We're happy to do the research that no one can be asked for. Like that's the thing. People can't be bothered to do their own research. It's all in one place here because we've done it. We've never claimed to be good players. It just so happens that we've had some good scores over the years. But even good players need luck. Like you're picking t-shirts with value, and like you need it's out of your hands once the game gets going. And I've not had one rub of the green, so it is what it is.
I wasn't expecting to get so deep in fantasy football.
I know, but yeah, we are. I've thought about it a lot. So yeah, but ultimately we play this game because it should be fun. And I think that's what I said to myself for match day 4 for the 12 point. I was like, I'm gonna just try and have fun. I'm gonna take hits to try and get some points, regardless of my rank. Stupid advice, but here we are.
It's only up from here.
Is it?
Well, yeah, because
I don't think so. There's still more people behind me than in front of me, Aaron.
well, I think because over the past, well, I know mostly it's normally roles reversed at this point.
Yeah.
Last year I had a good season as well, but like in the knockouts is where I normally make the biggest climbs.
I bet you've got chips in the knockouts.
Not well. I feel like it's been every year. I feel like I've always did like the biggest green arrows in the knockouts.
But is this the first time you've used both chips in the group stages?
Last year.
Last year was. You can pick my teams in the knockouts, then, Aaron. You can help us out. I think. Do you think
it is time I repaid the favor and help you out for once?
We can do it. We can do it.
I've been where you are, and you have been where I am. We need to help each other out.
Yes, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Well, we'll try and help each other out with the ranks. But let's move on to match day 6. It's a big match day. Now, normally we will do these Tuesday fixtures first.
Chronologically, really.
Yeah, exactly. A day or
these are the early fixtures.
Yeah. What we're going to do for this podcast or for this episode is we're going to change it up to do the groups that have the most riding on it. So if you want to make transfers, you want to be picking players from teams with something to play for. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to start with who we think has the most to play for in terms of the groups, regardless of whether you want to go for any players from that fixture or not. And we want to work down to the least important.
Kind of like match of the day.
Yeah. And then off that, you can decide, should I be going for Man City players when, spoiler alert, they're the last group we're going to talk about because everything's sorted. What's the point? We've got some injury news. Some of it that affects certainly me. Do you know any injuries that you've got without spoiling them yet?
Not that I'm aware of. So in terms of my thinking at the moment, I've still got the limitless chip. So it is a big. I don't know whether I'm going to pull the trigger.
Don't do it.
Or should I try? It's going to be chaos anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll kind of go through my team as we're talking about groups, and then we can kind of decide.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But we're going to start with the group of death. The group with the most riding on it. Only one team has qualified at the moment, but all the positions could change.
Yes. So Dortmund can finish first or second. Paris Saint-Germain can finish first, second, or third. Newcastle can finish second, third, or fourth. Milan can finish second, third, or fourth. So it's everything to play for. It's might be the last opportunity I get to wear my Newcastle top on a podcast for the main event, which is why I wanted to make the most of it. Get a final bit of sports watching in there, but it's been an experience, been a wild ride. Amazing, all the effort from last year and how it all came about for us. We've had some really good times in this competition. We've had a couple of eyebrow raisers and some horrible moments, obviously, particularly
with the same team.
Yeah, exactly. Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But But yes, I think it's also good just to test yourself against other teams in Europe. We've heard the music now. So moving into this final game week or match day, I personally feel nothing but pride for them. But there's still a lot to do in terms of actually going through. So we'll start from the top of the group with Dortmund. Dortmund need to just draw with Paris Saint-Germain to finish top. So they're going for a draw. Or obviously, if Paris Saint-Germain score, then they've got to excel to get that. They got beat 3-2 at the weekend after going down to 10 men after 15 minutes, I think it was. Mats Hummels got sent off. So the player that you brought in.
It's all right. You got a clean sheet and player of the match. I don't care.
This is it. This is what I'm talking about. But my defender, my 2-pointer Basagli scored during the week. Fuming. 2-pointer. Just CLIV. I think obviously in terms of Dortmund, they're a good home team. They get beat at home. But again, that was the 10 men. They only got beat 3-2 off Leipzig as well, by the way, which I think says how good they are. Paris Saint-Germain aren't a great away team. But they are in a really, really good run of form, I suppose. I still fancy Dortmund to get a result here. What do you think?
I think Paris Saint-Germain are definitely the favourites. But I just don't trust Dortmund. It's just one of them where like they could have won the league on the last day and it was just
bottle jobs.
That's what scares us. Is that I mean it's not like Paris Saint-Germain any like elite mentality type of team anyway. Yeah. But like I'm a bit nervous about I think when it comes down to Dortmund, the fact that they've already qualified. I mean, I think they would rather have Newcastle in the round of 16 with them, even though they don't play us. But I think they'd rather have us in the knockouts than Paris Saint-Germain. So if they've got a chance to knock out Paris Saint-Germain, it'll help them out in the later in the competition.
Perhaps. I just think they'll want to go out and finish top. Personally, I just think they'll want to not have to play a top seeded team from the other groups. I think that's going to be them. Also, I think players do just want to go out and win every game.
But when it comes to their home fans.
Yeah. I think in terms of that, just extra bit of motivation to actually finish top. I think it says, I think it'll make a real statement for them in the group as well. If they finish top with, it'll be 13 points if they win, or even 11 points if they draw from this group, is an outstanding effort by any of the teams who have done this.
I had them last in my group prediction.
I don't. I think I had them second and third with us. I think I had Paris top, and then it was either us or Dortmund. I had Milan last. I think something changed.
No, I think I had.
You had Dortmund last
because I had AC Milan third or second.
I mean, Dortmund are one of them teams. They'll be terrible next year in the Champions League. So that's the way that Dortmund work. They're really good one year, terrible the next, really good, terrible, really good, terrible. Like just up and down, Jack in the box team of the Champions League. As far as players goes, it's a bit of a tough one. Like, who would you rest your hat on getting points in this game from? I mean, Mbappe is the one where you think for Paris Saint-Germain, you might get you're not going for anyone else from Paris Saint-Germain. No chance. But for Dortmund, do you go for one of the defenders against Paris Saint-Germain? Do you think they keep the clean sheet? I think they could. I think Dortmund defenders, if you've got them, you keep them. You've got Hummels.
So I've got 3 players in this match: Hummels, Hakimi, Mbappe.
I think as long as they all play, that's 6 points other people just won't get, if I'm being honest. Also, I think
it is Wednesday as well.
Yeah, that's a problem. But I think Hakimi's probably the dodgy one because Mbappe and Hummels playing against each other. I just think Mbappe scores on all wonders for Paris Saint-Germain in the top games. And if Mbappe doesn't score, then Hummels gets a clean sheet. So I think either way, you're probably looking at 8 points between them two. But I think, or maybe let's say 9 points. Let's say Hummels, makes 3 ball recoveries or whatever.
He's been averaging 5.
Yeah. So let's say you get 9 points for match day 6. I think that's quite good. Whereas you don't want to be taking a hit to be getting 2 of those out when Hakimi's getting rid of Hakimi, especially for the money's probably enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the challenge with this one. Obviously, Hakimi used to play for Dortmund, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So
He's very good for them.
yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. His return to Germany.
Hakimi got an absolute haul against him in match day 1 as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored.
Yeah.
That's a challenge. That
But PSG at home on PSG away. In Dortmund away on Dortmund at home either. So I think more than ever, post-COVID, we are experiencing teams being magic at home and pretty atrocious away.
if it helps, Paris Saint-Germain scored 1 in both of the other away games in the Champions League group. Obviously, they lost both of them.
Yeah. Mbappe scored in 1. Was it Lucas Hernandez that scored against us?
Yeah. So the chances of a Dortmund clean sheet
are quite low.
Quite low. So I am just banking on Hummels probably just outscoring someone who plays on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Which I'm looking for a 3 or 2 or 3 or 4 points probably.
So. I mean, see what the rest of your team looks like. Obviously, you've got to bench some players. So you might just bench them. You'd be all right. Other than that, it's just the usual suspects from this: Adeyemi, Brandt, Royce is on pens for Dortmund. They're like the 3 players. Donny Marlin's gone back to all fart no shite. Like, he's a really explosive player, but terrible with his final ball, his final shot, all that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't say he's a particularly great fantasy asset. Who do you think's going to win that game?
No, I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah.
I think 1-1.
I'm going Dortmund 2-1. Close to the mast.
I really hope so. Because then that brings us on nicely to a certain game in our neck of the woods with these 2 teams.
Yes. Newcastle at home to Milan. Let's start with Milan, Aaron. Let's start with the away team. Leao's out, which is an absolute blessing.
Yep. I would say if you had to put all the Milan players in order of how dangerous they are and who you would, if you look to nullify them, you've stopped the team. Who would you say, like after Leao, who would you say is the next one that you have to try and nullify to stop the team?
I'd say either Theo or Giroud, probably.
Cool. So that's a good thing because Theo Hernandez is playing centre back because of the amount of injuries they have in the back four. He has volunteered to play in centre back. So
he has played at centre back before. I mean, it's kind of strange. Like
the Hernandez brothers
swap round. Like
one of them is clearly better at the centre back, and the other one's
clearly better at left back.
But they're going to play in the opposite. Yeah. Anyways,
what a time to be alive.
So that's happened. They lost 3-2 to Atalanta. They got a red card, but that was in the last minute, so we can't really look at that.
Yeah.
Luis Muriel, what a player.
Is he still playing for Atalanta?
Yeah.
Did he come off the bench?
He did. It's like you know it.
I've seen this film before, mate.
So Giroud is back in the striker role. Pulisic and Chukwueze was the starting wingers. I do think that'll be the same. Benacer came back off the bench, so he.
Oh
no. I don't think he's fit enough to start. But
please don't. He's if any Newcastle fans are unaware, he might actually be their actual best. No, I don't know. Leao's probably the best player.
Leao's the best player.
Benacer's a very good player.
I was in top 5. I would say Mignan is probably the second best player in.
Do you reckon the goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Because I was injured.
Yeah, he got an assist on the weekend though.
Edison gets assists. I wouldn't say he was Man City's second best player.
I think that's actually. I think that's Magnan's like 3rd assist of the season.
Do you reckon Magnan's better than Theo Hernandez and Benacer?
So you would say Thiago is probably top 5 left back?
Theo? What,
maybe
world?
Not in your personal rankings, but probably.
No, I would definitely put Theo top 5 left backs in the world.
And then now
when people say he is the best, I'm like, that's a claim. That
yeah. Mignan, top 5 goalkeeper in the world. He's starting goalkeeper for France.
Maybe.
in terms of shot stopping, he is.
Maybe, yeah. If he is, he's fourth or fifth, probably.
Either way, they're interchangeable. But
yeah, fair enough. But I mean, it's because there's more centre midfielders than good left backs and goalkeepers in the world. Like,
yeah, that's a shout. Anyway, that's a rabbit hole.
random ramble there. Anyway, Benacer's good, and we don't want him to play. That's the meat and drink of that.
So in terms of how their back four look, it'll probably be similar to how they lined up. So you've got Calabria as the right back.
Yeah.
Tomori's the only fit centre back.
Tiao's out.
Yeah. And obviously he played really well against when you went to go see them in Italy.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Hernandez and then Florenzi left back.
So they've got a right back and left back. Kalulu's out as well.
Yeah. Like they have nobody on the bench.
Simon Chair out. This is not nice for Milan, but it's nice for us considering how many injuries we've got.
So that potentially you could start to look now at Gordon, who's gotten consecutive attack and returns in home games.
Yeah,
he's on a little bit of a streak. I think Isak,
if he plays, a lot of them were dreadful today. Not again.
Callum Wilson's on the bench. He's getting back to fitness. So
oh yes, I keep on forgetting that. Obviously, not a lot of people or Newcastle fans that watch this, but we're very tired. You can just see they are knackered mentally, physically, the lot. Isak looks like he would lose a race with a tortoise at the minute. He just looks so leggy. Wilson came on and he was lively, he was bright, he got an assist. He could have had a couple of goals, to be fair, Wilson. If he decided to shoot on his left foot instead of trying to bring it on to his right, if he just had some confidence with that. He had a header that he's knocked right at the keeper. He did more in 15, 20 minutes than Isak did in the game. I would not get Isak in because I wouldn't be convinced, A, that Wilson doesn't start, or B, that he's not hooked after an hour to bring Wilson on when Milan are a bit more tired. I think Isak would be a bad pick. I agree Gordon would probably be the best, and he's just a 90-minute player at the minute.
I just think them two centre-backs for AC Milan are very pacey. Well, Hernandez very pacey for a centre-back.
Yes, he is.
But in terms of physicality, I would say Wilson gets the better of Tomori more times than not. Tomori and Isak, that's a bit more even. Hernandez versus Callum Wilson, I reckon Callum Wilson beats him with experience in terms of positioning.
Yeah, because Hernandez is strong, isn't he?
Yeah, so
it's the movement of the striker, I think. Like for me,
and
I think
Callum Wilson's so good at that.
Yeah.
Like he's so good in terms of the movement. So you could say I do see that tactic working where Isak will tire them out. But I also think Joe Linton, if he starts running into the box as he has been, I think he gets the better of them in terms of physicality.
Yeah, don't disagree with that at all. He obviously got a goal today, but it's tough banking on Joe Linton getting goals from centre midfield. He got most of his goals last year from left wing when he went on that little hot streak. He was playing in a different position, basically.
I still don't think you could buy Joe Linton over Gordon, though.
I agree, especially for the money as well.
Yeah. But in terms of the two goal scorers for AC Milan, just wait for it to load again. So Giroud and then Jovic came off the bench. Pulisic did come really, really close from a Mignan long ball. So we are I think Giroud, I think, will be the danger man.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
he'll be the one who scores for AC Milan. I remember when they were in like a crunch situation last year, and it was a similar situation to this where AC Milan, because they had lost so bad to Chelsea two games in a row, they had to win match day 6. And I think Giroud scored 2 goals.
He's such a clutch player, Giroud.
Yeah.
I think he's so underrated. He just gets important goals. When they won the league, he got them goals against Inter Milan, who are the better team in the league. And he turned up, and with again how our defenders are playing at the minute. And I appreciate Newcastle's home form and away from are 2 totally different things, but we look shattered. The crowd on Wednesday night need to be electric, absolutely electric, to give them energy. I think I think there's goals in it for both teams. Just with the injury troubles, how tired both teams likely are. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of an issue. I'd say if you want to pick a player from this game, I agree with you. Gordon for his value, and he's a home player as well. He's good at home, Anthony Gordon. What do you think the score's going to be?
Newcastle win 2-1.
Same, exactly. I've got 2-1 for both games.
Um,
I'm going to go a step further and say Giroud, Gordon, and Wilson, the three scorers.
with Trippier assists, because of course. Probably not with them, but yeah. Either way,
maybe.
No, I think. Yeah, I think Newcastle will have the better of AC Milan at home. And then in terms of the other players, it's just about keeping their cool, not letting the situation get to them. Shaw, I think, will be critical, so he could be a good.
He's not been very good the last 2 games. He's been really bad.
I mean,
bad. So
yeah, but if he, what I mean by he will be critical, like to the success.
Yeah,
I think Botman potentially just misses out. I heard that he's back in training.
Yeah, he's been training on his own for a little while.
But I guess that's just going to like the Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of our discussions now. I think, but that in terms of how that would finish, that would be Newcastle finish second. So
yes, exactly.
We'll take that.
I have faith.
And if not, we're going to be starting a Europa League podcast.
Europa League Fantasy, join us in January. On to the next group.
Group A. So at the moment, this will be on the Tuesday. Man United against Bayern Munich, Copenhagen against Galatasaray. Bayern Munich already through, top spot secured. They can chill. The only thing they have to play for, the only thing they have to play for is potentially personal pride with a few of these players, but also the fact that they've got that streak going on where I think if they win this, it'll be 40 consecutive group stage matches without a loss.
But they've just had another streak come to an end in the Bundesliga. 5-1 they got beat off Eintracht Frankfurt. And no, they weren't playing a rotated team. They were playing their absolute strongest 11. Serge Gnabry is out for 6 weeks or something like that, muscle injury. So he will not be fit for this game, which pretty much means that Leroy Sané is fairly nailed on to play, I think, with questions over whether he would. He obviously got dropped for match day 5 or rested, whatever you want to put it. Tell could still get a game. Harry Kane will want to play still against Man United because he just wants to score goals in every game. He'll want to break Champions League records, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be a strange game because Man United actually played quite well at the weekend. Since they dropped Rashford and Martial, they've got people that now will just do the basics and run around, put in a shift, and they're really going to need that. I think Man United are going to win and get through because it's just going to annoy everyone that isn't a Man United fan, isn't it? Really, it's going to. Copenhagen have got the chance to go through. Imagine Copenhagen going through the round of 16. Unbelievable. Galatasaray have got a chance to go through after obviously the disaster that they've had earlier on in the year in terms of the earthquake and stuff. You're just thinking, there's some really nice moments that could happen. But no, Man United will cheese it. Guaranteed.
There's probably like a £1 billion payment to each of these teams to let them get through.
Yeah. And it's going to be Bruno Fernandes scoring the winner from a dodgy penalty, and he's going to run up to the camera and do this to all the Galatasaray fans. It's guaranteed. I have Harry Kane. I'll be keeping him. I think if you have any other Bayern players, you probably actually want rid of them. They're going to cost you a lot of money. They are playing for nothing, and you could free up a lot of space. How many Bayern Munich players do you have, Aaron?
I currently have 2.
Harry Kane and Leroy Sané.
And Kimmich.
And Kimmich scored at the weekend, I think he was
doing quite well for me. So he got 7 in the first match I brought him in, and then he got 5.
Is he getting ball recoveries galore? Or is he a bit of an assister? Obviously,
he got assists in the first one against Galatasaray and 6 ball recoveries, clean sheet and 6 ball recoveries in the last one.
That's not bad. That because
6.5.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of a 6.5 million. That's going to get you like a baseline 5-pointer. That's fine. Are they playing Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm gonna ask you this a lot. Tuesday. First set's Tuesday. So he's if
He would kind of.
You want him to play on a Wednesday, don't you?
We'll touch on it a bit, but my Tuesday-Wednesday split is bad.
Is it?
Yeah, that's I didn't realize it until after the deadline. I was like,
oh no,
I've kind of transferred my way into a deadline.
Mine's great, which shows how bad I've been the last few weeks. If my Tuesday, Wednesday split's great. Everyone else is like, oh, my Tuesday, Wednesday is terrible. Yeah, great. Enjoy your points for match day 4 and 5. Swines. For Man United, they've got Reguilon, 4 million, who's a bit of a budget if anyone's really wild. But I think Bruno Fernandes is probably the best pick. And if someone like you was thinking about Limitless, I'd probably consider Bruno on a Limitless. If you've got no issues money-wise, then it's definitely worth bringing him in. Again, because he's on pens, but he's just the type of player to cheese a goal.
But he's also the type of player where because you see Man United winning, I don't. I think that Bayern Munich, they'll look at it from a tournament perspective. And similar to what I was saying about Dortmund wanting to knock Paris Saint-Germain out for the later stages, there's no way like they want Man United to get through. Like they're not just going to be like, oh yeah, Man United will do you a favor.
Yeah.
Like they'll love the fact that they get a knockout Man United.
Yeah.
Plus they've got a massive chip on their shoulder. The fact that the Premier League is all high and mighty, the fact that they could knock out one of the biggest names in the Premier League in the group stage, make them finish last. I think Bayern Munich would really relish that. I think they're the type of team where it seems to be like that case in the Champions League. They've not really blown us away the same way that they've done in the Bundesliga. It seems to be very, very tight games, and in the last 10 minutes, they'll score all their goals.
Yeah.
I think that'll be similar because I feel like Man United, the closer it gets to full time, will be throwing everything at them, and then Bayern Munich, with their quality, will pick their moment. Tell come on. Musiala is back. He came on for a few minutes. I think he'll come on and he'll probably sub for probably Sane or Koeman. So I mean, you don't want to transfer them in, but I do think that they're the type of player who probably, if the match goes that way that I've kind of described in my head, I think that they'll be a big role in it.
I'd also like to clarify, we've done this before where we've said things sarcastically on this podcast and people don't get it. I know Man United got beat 3-0 off Bournemouth at the weekend. I was joking when I said they played quite well. I was thinking about it afterward, and people are going to take that seriously, aren't they?
These people don't do their research.
It should have been 4. Yes. But that's what I mean. Like, I just think it's so typical of Man United to ruin everyone's fun. It's all they've ever done since I was born.
Who
is ruin other people's fun?
If Man United scored a last-minute winner, who do you think would be the biggest troll to send mental?
Got to be.
I would say Maguire or Rashford.
You mean in terms of a player? Like if a player scored?
Yeah, which Man United player would send just mental? It would have to be Maguire, surely.
Onana, header from a corner.
Scores from a goal kick.
From a goal kick.
Just a rocket into the top corner.
No, genuinely, I'd say Onana assist for like Rashford off the bench. Like just pumping along, or like Onana and Maguire, maybe. Yeah, I think that would send people absolutely nuts. Like, I think in terms of
it's clearly offside, but VAR allow it.
I think in terms of sending non-Man United fans, Loopy, it would be Bruno Fernandes. I think he's one of the most hated players in the league. Man United fans probably love him. Actually, maybe not after this week. I've seen some people being like, "Oh my god, he down tools."
Yeah,
but historically, he's been brilliant for Man United. He's one of them players that every single person that supports a team in the league that isn't Man United or isn't Portuguese absolutely despises Bruno Fernandes. And if he did it,
Yeah, you've just reminded me of my original point, which I didn't make. Because I say Bayern Munich going that way and winning, I think this is a type of match where Bruno Fernandes doesn't grab it by the scruff of the neck and he complains to the ref the whole time and
So he's
doesn't do
so he's
anything.
1 pointer, yellow card.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think that's the way I see it. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not doing very well, so go with you. I've got to go with you this year, Aaron.
well, no,
I mean nothing. I am worthless.
The grade and curse is still a thing.
No, not yet. Not clearly not. What's the score going to be?
I see 2-0 Bayern Munich.
I'm going to say 1-0 Man United.
Oh, we disagree.
I know.
Once. The other game, Copenhagen against Galatasaray. When these two teams faced each other last time, Copenhagen won.
Yes.
Copenhagen have done really, really well, I think.
So well.
They're other than against Man United, they've done really, really well defensively. They're a really tough unit to break down. And so when you look back at like match day 1 and like kind of just all the different like craziness. Actually, Copenhagen didn't win. I got confused. My bad. 2-2, but it took 2 85+ minutes goals by Galatasaray to get. Also, Copenhagen had a red card, so it was quite an upset. A lot of people thought that Galatasaray would walk this match. Icardi did nothing, which upset a lot of people who banked on him. How do you see this one going?
This one,
basically, whoever wins this match goes through.
Well, I think this one's going to be a draw again with Man United winning. That's what I'm saying.
You sicken me, Dan.
Honestly, look, it ain't my first rodeo, Aaron. Man United hate everyone to have fun, and this is what's going to happen. These two are going to draw. I think it's going to be another good game with goals galore. If we look at players to pick, I think midfielders are abundant from these teams. You're looking at, from a Copenhagen perspective, Laraga, who's got a couple of goals and an assist in the first 5 games. You've got El Yanusi, who's got a couple of goals in the first 5 games. Also, you've got Goncalves. Now, it's not Sporting Lisbon's Goncalves, but he's still got the same surname, and I want to back him for that reason. This is where I'm at, Aaron. I'm 460k in the world. This is where I'm at. I'm thinking, get him in because he's got a class surname for a player that's historically done really well for us. From the Galatasaray side of things, Ziyech obviously was off to a flyer. You got Wilfred Zaha, who's probably my least favourite of the 6 I'm about to say. I've said 5. And Aktoglu. Aktoglu scored again at the weekend, I think. I think people should be going for players out of those 6, especially if you've got Brais Mendes, who, spoiler, for Sociedad is injured. He's broken his arm. Etienne Capoue snapped him in half at the weekend. I think Sociedad won 3-0 or something like that. So I think for those that have a Brais Mendes fire to put out, I'd be looking at Laraga, El Yanusi, Goncalves, you'll never forget the name, Aktoglu, Ziyech, and then maybe Zaha. Like I say, Zaha's probably the least favourite of those, but I have him, so I'm stuck with him. Do you have any picks from this game?
I don't, and that's what kind of amazes us, because one of these two teams will make it to the knockout, and I've not owned a single player from them
until the draw and Man United win, and then Man United go through, ruin everyone's fun. We've been over this.
So, yeah, the fact that I haven't owned a single player from either of these teams, and I probably won't, is, I think, quite shocking, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done me okay, but I reckon I've not looked through other people's teams, but top 10 in the world probably have nailed these picks. They probably have Ziyech.
Yeah. It's sickening, isn't it? Please help us with your tips. Let us know. Message us your transfers.
How do you see this one going? I'm going to go with the home team, Copenhagen, to win 3-1. You see another 2-2?
Desmond. I don't think it's going to be 2-0, then 2-2 either. I think it's going to be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2.
I'm just going 3-1, even though I could name more Galatasaray players.
I'm actually really thinking about getting one of these in as my midfielder for Brace Mendes, genuinely.
Well, I think Galatasaray, the names that they have in their team, they have invested quite heavily into the team to do well. So
obviously, you've got Icardi as a choice as well. Icardi up front, if you're looking for a forward, with a certain Norwegian player being injured.
Odegaard's injured again.
He's gone.
But no. So according to my predictions,
Bayern and Copenhagen are going through.
It'll finish the way it has.
According to me, it's Bayern and Man United.
We're going to go to Group H next. Bit of a jump back to the Wednesday. At the moment, Barcelona are top with 12, but they are not safe there. Porto on 9, Shakhtar on 9, and Antwerp on 0.
Big fat donut.
So with that, the fixtures are important. So Porto versus Shakhtar, winner goes through. Barcelona against Antwerp, just have to get a point. It is away to Antwerp. Let's
3-0 Antwerp. No.
I think the biggest thing, are Barcelona going to rotate? Is Cancelo? So I've got Cancelo in my team. Do you still have Koundé in your team somehow?
I do still have Koundé in my team, Aaron. I know he's been an absolute troll. Got injured, did well, got injured. It's been a bit of a problem. Barcelona are playing right now. I think it's 1-1 at the minute. Yeah, it is. Oh my goodness me, Aaron. Pedro Gonçalves is back. We've been talking about Hakimi at Dortmund. We've been talking about Lewis Muriel, and here he is. Robert Lewandowski's scored his first goal in about 8 years. Well done. Well done. Rafinha's got an assist. They are drawing 1-1 at home with Girona. They are playing a full-strength team, so they've got Koundé at right back. They've got Raúl Christensen in the middle. They've got Cancelo at left back. Well, they have...
It's not quite full strength. A bit of a change in goalkeeper.
Yeah, so Peña is in goal for ter Stegen. So if you are looking for a goalkeeper, Peña is probably a really good shout. I think he's 4 million and he's guaranteed to play. That being said, they clearly struggle against anyone with clean sheets. They've got Felix playing on the left, Rafinha playing on the right, and they've got Pedri, Gundogan, and De Jong in the middle. So they are full whack, except for ter Stegen. I think Joao Felix, again, is probably the best pick for Barcelona. If you have their defenders, I'd be concerned about rotation, to be honest. I really would. They do not need to win this game at all. Like, I know they want to make sure, but I mean, is there any possibility they can finish anything other than top?
I think they're qualified because of both Porto and Shakhtar can't both get 3 points.
They've definitely qualified. 100% they've qualified.
But they're not safe there in terms... I think it's head-to-head, actually.
Yeah, so they're allowed to
so
draw.
It depends who they draw. It depends who wins that match.
So it's if Shakhtar win, Barcelona finish second. If Porto win, Barcelona finish top, even if they lose. But a draw will guarantee them finishing top. I can't see them finishing anything but top.
I think if they don't win against Antwerp, they deserve not to finish top.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think what to be concerned about Barcelona rotating, 100% be concerned about that. I don't think Lewandowski gets rotated because I think Xavi will want him to get goals.
I think the biggest thing is that the amount of injuries that Barcelona have. Like, obviously, they've got a lot of long-term injuries. How many youth academy players are going to try and promote? Which, thankfully, Barcelona and La Liga, they do release the squad list. So we will know if Because I remember when they played match day 6 a few years ago, loads of people had Messi in their team, but I saw that Messi wasn't even in the squad to be called up.
Yeah.
So
If
it will kind of get a heads up. But if Lewandowski is in the squad, I can see him starting.
Yeah, I think in terms of players to come in, you've got Sergio Roberto, who I think is nailed on to play right back when I've got
Yamal
Koundé.
will play.
Yamal will play. Oriol Romeu will play. Fermin will play in the middle. I think Alejandro Balde will play left back, not Cancelo. I think Ferran Torres will play instead of Joao Felix. Or Rafinha, but probably Joao Felix. So I think there is a lot of room to A, for these players to be rotated, but B, I think there's an opportunity to bring in Ferran Torres. Genuinely, I think if he starts, he'll go absolutely off this week against.
I think he's
Antwerp.
potentially playing for a transfer. I know there's a lot of
Come to Newcastle,
interest.
Ferran. Come to Newcastle.
I actually have seen that rumor.
Have you? I
Mhm.
didn't think you liked England.
I mean, I wouldn't leave Barcelona to come to Newcastle in January, but
Would you not?
as a Spanish national,
It's a Spanish national. Yeah, fair enough.
I think that one's going to be really tricky, though. I think if you are able to predict who's going to play, I think you'll get a lot of points. I think it's just going to be there is that risk attached that any
Yeah.
of the players could be subbed. Porto versus Shakhtar. Porto are at home. Porto on the weekend. Well, they're heavy favourites to win. They won 3-1 yesterday. They also won 3-1 in the cup, 3-0. The game before that in the league. So they're scoring three games in a row. They do have Sporting on Monday.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter. That these two teams are playing full strength, aren't they?
Yeah. Shakhtar, I mean, I'm not going to be able to pronounce who they've played against, but they won 2-0, 2-0. And then, interestingly, they've only played the 2 games since the last Champions League.
Zubkov scored and Mr. Penn this weekend.
So that could have been more. Obviously, they've had a little bit of a rest in terms of they played on the Friday. I think Porto might have as well. I didn't look at the date, but Porto have been in this situation before. Shakhtar are always kind of nearly there. They'll get a good result in the group, but then never quite cross the line. Good opportunity. I think if it's a draw, it'll stay as it is. Porto qualify. So the pressure is on Shakhtar. How do you see it going?
I think this is a great game to get in Porto players.
I mean, Galeno, his heroics in match day 1.
Yep.
Could he repeat that?
Yep, definitely. Also, I think players like Costa, the goalkeeper, or any of the defenders are likely to get save points, ball recovery points, because I can see this being a Shakhtar attack versus Porto defense, with Porto hitting them on the counter. So I think Evan Nielsen would be a good pick. I don't know if Shakhtar have got enough to unpick the locks. So I could see this being one of those games where you probably don't want to watch it because you'll be on the edge of your seat or hiding behind your sofa while your players are picking up ball recoveries, your goalkeeper's making saves, and you're thinking, oh my God, when Shakhtar are knocking on the door, I think it's going to be one of those. But then Porto will come through it on the other side. I mean, Galeno started on the bench at the weekend. He came off. He came off the bench. Don't think he did anything when he was on. But Pepe scored again. Evan Nielsen scored again. So it's the same names popping up. By this point, you know the players that you should be going for, really, I think. What do you think is going to happen?
I see a Porto 2-0 win.
Exactly the same. That being said, I would like to say, guys, Fernando Andrade scored a penalty against FC Porto. I think that's the first time in the last 10 years that someone's managed to score a pen against them. So well done to you. I think you should win some kind of spot prize. Diogo Costa was in goal. You've scored past Diogo Costa from the penalty spot. He deserves a goal bonus at the very least.
I wouldn't argue against not giving him that. In terms of that group, then, according to our predictions, Barcelona, Porto make it through. Going on to Group C next, Real Madrid against Union Berlin. I think the biggest question is, does Bellingham play?
Probably.
Obviously, he scored again on the weekend. I think they will. I think it's Real Madrid, the Champions League, that they're just going to play their strongest 11. Union Berlin, kind of a little bit of a letdown, but it's their first ever appearance in the Champions League. They could still finish third, provided that Napoli win and they win. So there is a little bit to play for there, but I think because of their success last season, they were just cherry picked in the transfer window, and there was lots of changes in terms of coaching staff and all sorts. Their stadium had to be upgraded. Lots of transition. I don't think it's the last we'll see of them. Maybe not next year, but I do think they're building something really good.
Finally won a game this weekend, 3-1 against Mönchengladbach. Yeah, Alisson Player scored. Another blast from the past. But yeah, they've got a new manager in. Sorry, he's got a goal alone. Barcelona are now losing 2-1. Don't get Pena. Yeah, I'd say I agree that the tide might be sort of changing with the new coach coming in. I still think it's going to be a bridge too far for them, Real Madrid, personally. And to answer your question, yeah, I do think Jude Bellingham starts. I also think another great player, obviously, it's not me saying, oh, I think he's a great player. You know, like people don't already realize Rodrigo's a really great player. But I mean, in terms of a great pick, because he's just scoring goals. He just seems to have hit that little purple patch, especially with Vinicius Jr. not being in the team through injury. He seems to have stepped up. When they play the system with the two of them, it feels like they're both fighting for the same thing, even though they're on the same side of the split. Jude Bellingham will come through the middle. Whereas when he's up there with like Joselu or someone, Joselu's a much greater team player than those two. So I feel people around Joselu can benefit more. So I think because of that, Rodrigo becomes a much better pick than when Vinicius Jr. is in the team with the new position. And obviously, if we're playing standard 3 in midfield, 3 up front like they did last year, then, well, they've got nothing to do with each other, really. So it's fine. So yeah, I think Rodrigo, Bellingham. Not entirely sure if I'd go for a Real Madrid defender, though, just because like Union Berlin have it in them to score, especially if they've got that new manager Bounds and they've got to win the game. Like they might just go full pelt at Real Madrid, nick a goal, and then Real Madrid have not been great defensively this year. In a lot of the games, they've won by the odd one goal. So I'm not sure if I'd go for a Real Madrid defender. Do you have any Real Madrid players?
No, just Bellingham, but I feel like everybody and their dog does. No, I don't have anyone else from there. Actually, they're the only ones from this group. I don't have any Napoli players, which may change. Speaking of Napoli, I'm actually prediction. Does Bellingham score?
Yes.
I think he's a really good Tuesday captain.
Yeah. I think he's been grossly ignored for the captaincy by quite a lot of people. They are, I mean, Union Berlin are at home, aren't they? I mean, that's the thing. Union Berlin only lost 1-0 to a Jude Bellingham goal in the first game. They've got 2 draws in the last 2 games. You know what? I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw, and I'm gonna say Jude Bellingham will score.
Okay. The issue is if he does score, he scored for absolutely everybody else. 74% owned.
If you want any points from him, you need to captain him, basically.
Yeah.
I think he's a good Tuesday captaincy.
And if he doesn't play, you just pick a Wednesday captain.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Yep.
Something. I probably wouldn't. But is this a good week to actually use auto subs? If someone doesn't play, just let the game sub them in for you.
What a question. Maybe.
I mean, it's no fun that way.
No, but it might. I suppose it's going to depend on your team, isn't it?
It depends how badly you choose to
Yeah.
players do. Just a thought I had just there. And then the other game, Napoli versus Braga. This went really well for Napoli when they played them the first time. Di Lorenzo, the beautiful man that he is. Even though, so Napoli lost 1-0 to Juventus, they then lost 3-0 to Inter, lost 4-2 to Real Madrid. They did win the game before that, but recent form is not great against in big games. They have had a lot of switches, new coaches and stuff like that. Di Lorenzo scored in the first game. He didn't keep the clean sheet, but if a 5.5 million defender, I think he's a bit more now. But if he scores for you again, I mean, he's still a great asset at that price. He will be playing again. I think Napoli just need to play their strongest team. At home, I think they're a good pick. Osimhen, I think he's also, there's a lot of questions. He did start and play the full 90 against Juventus. Kvaratskhelia got subbed off, not injury related.
It was just terrible.
It just didn't perform well. So they played Raspadori and Osimhen up front together. Didn't work. Obviously, Juventus held on for the clean sheet. But Osimhen is back. Does that tempt you?
Yeah, of course it does. Napoli are at home, so I think it gives them a better chance. So just to say, Braga need to win by more than a goal, and so they need to win by, I think, by 2 goals or more. We're just talking about counter-attacking City here. So I think Di Lorenzo maybe isn't the best pick because he's a defender and I can see Braga scoring. But Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen, I think, will be good picks. Genuinely. I just think Braga are going to get smashed on the break to bits in this game. And because a certain Norwegian striker is out, put striker in this time.
I wish I knew more Norwegian strikers. Just
It's Hoyland.
He's interesting.
Is Hoyland Norwegian? Or is he Danish? Danish? No.
Yeah, he's Danish.
Is he? I don't remember.
How dare you get your Scandinavian
Oh my
countries mixed up?
God. They've both got a red flag, all right. It's that top. It's just messing with my brain. Just everything's red.
It's the spelling.
Osimhen, I'd say, is a good. I can't believe. What am I doing? Yeah, Osimhen's a good pick.
Well done, Dan. Well done.
I hate my life.
In reality, though, he probably is. He's a safer transfer in than Kane. Would you say if you don't have Kane?
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I have Kane. I don't want him. That being said, Bournemouth put 4. I don't care, 4 past Man United at the weekend. But I've still got Man United 1-0, haven't I?
Yeah. So if you had a transfer in Osimhen
or Kane,
who would you transfer in? Match day 6 chaos. To me, Osimhen.
Yeah.
Even though I have Bayern Munich winning, I still think Osimhen's a safer pick. But this is a classic. Osimhen gets rested, manages minutes. Raspadori plays, scores multiple goals.
No, Raspadori scores, gets subbed off with 5 points. That's Raspadori's story. Sure, he's not going to rest them when they've got a.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No chance.
So that's Real Madrid, Napoli making it through, and kind of that group staying the same, which is a bit boring.
In terms of Braga, it's Bruma, I think, the forward. He's quality. He is quality.
He scored against Napoli the last game.
Really good. I'd not hesitate to bring him in if you're really looking to go. Particularly punty. I was thinking in terms of Napoli's midfield. Anguissa always looks like he's going to score whenever I watch him play in the Champions League. Not necessarily in Serie A, but in the Champions League, he's just up for it and he gets into little positions and he's had a couple of goals disallowed, or he's had one disallowed, one's counted. So I think Unky says a canny pick, and he'll get your ball recovery points as well. Little machine.
It's Zelensky who's the ultimate troll who will take penalties away
or
from.
not. Yeah, like Zielinski should be the penalty taker. He's their best penalty taker.
Yeah.
But you can't pick him because Kvaratskhelia will just pop him and go, oh, yeah, well, I'll have one.
Yeah.
And he's rubbish at them.
Yeah,
if you're a Kvaratskhelia owner, you do not want him taking a pen. It's just -2 points straight away.
So the next group B.
Whoa, what was the score?
Oh, Napoli 2-1. Probably the reverse.
Napoli 3-1.
Osimhen hat-trick. Group B. This is where we're starting to have people who are guaranteed their spot, and matches are getting a little bit less competitive. So I guess we'll fly through these ones.
Yeah.
Arsenal against PSV.
Go PSV.
It was a very one-sided game when they played each other in match day 1.
Yep.
Will that repeat?
I think Arsenal aren't the best travellers.
They've secured top spot.
This is Arteta's chance to rotate his entire team.
But is Arteta... Arteta's one of them managers who will complain about fixture congestion and then play the exact same starting 11.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense for him to. Like, you'd think Eddie Nketiah plays up front, and you think Jorginho plays in the middle.
I think a really underrated pick for Arsenal in the Champions League has been Tomiyasu.
He's injured, isn't he?
I don't know, but
I thought he got injured.
You have a look at that. But obviously, last game he got a few assists. He's been playing pretty much the majority of the Champions League matches. But it's players like that who are just outside of starting, who are going to be good picks, I think. Just waiting to see if he's fit.
Injury, right. So we've got an update on his injury. I'm just going to have to go into it. Was from 15 hours ago. It is Miguel Arteta remaining hopeful regarding a swift return to action. However, the Spaniard revealed earlier this week the 25-year-old's prognosis was worse than initially hoped.
Oh, lovely.
Now facing 6 weeks on the sidelines.
Well, never mind. But he has been a good pick in the Champions League. I think in terms of
I never pronounce his name. Kiwior will probably play. Ramsdale will probably play.
They are the early kickoff.
Yes, so that's the good thing. We'll see the team. Because these are the early kickoff, this is the game. This game and the Sevilla versus
players.
Game, you want players from these games because you know they are going to play. I guarantee with all the congestion that's going to happen. If you're someone that doesn't need to take hits, you think definitely you want players from these teams because they, even if you got 4 of them, let's for argument's sake, 1 from each team, the basis for them 4 is going to be 8 points. And honestly, match day 6 is 8 points people will not get because of everyone being dropped. Like, imagine Cancelo, Koundé get dropped. We've got another player to talk about that's been dropped. You've got injuries happening to popular picks like Brace Mendes. Imagine Bellingham does get dropped. Imagine Kane doesn't play. Haaland is injured. Like, there are so many things.
Haaland was the Norwegian striker you were talking about?
I think so. So there's so much stuff going on that you should probably pick players from these games. And I think if Arsenal play full strength, you want Arsenal players.
If you see the lineup and they're playing the exact same starting 11 as against Aston Villa, you'll want some.
Yeah, if they have like 5 or 6 or 7 changes, you want PSV players. And I just think it's really as simple as that.
I think Trossard might be a shout for this game.
Could be, yeah, if he starts, for sure. Again, it depends on who's playing around him.
Yeah.
Trossard will start, in my opinion. I think he'll start and Martinelli will be benched.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot of people will know that Arsenal lost to Aston Villa, but PSV, they beat Feyenoord since our last podcast 2-1. So against another Champions League team. PSV have won every game this season.
Yeah.
They've won 2-0 on the weekend. They played a Thursday game to help them get ready for Champions League.
Class.
I love that the league's helping.
Yeah, even when they're already, it's done and dusted. This is done and dusted for that. Like, this game actually isn't important. This game means nothing. The reason why this isn't a bottom group in terms of us talking about it is because of the other game.
Yep.
But PSV are at home and they'll probably want revenge.
Yeah. So Lon versus Sevilla. Sevilla have not had a great tournament. They're, I mean, if they win, they could make third and still go on their Europa League triumph that they always go in.
It's what they're playing for.
Lon are at home though, and I think they've made a good account for themselves. A win against Arsenal and 2 draws, I think, has been a very good group stage for them. I completely wrote them off, so they've made it, at least this group, competitive slightly. Other than when Arsenal beat them 6-0, but they beat Lyon 3-2, and they drew 0-0 with Montpellier on the Friday. So full strength team. I think you're going to look at who they're. I mean, you're either going to do one or two things with this team. Look at the starting 11, and then be like, right, who has the most fantasy points out of the starting 11? So search, like, filter in Lon on your app, and then being like, right, who has got the most points? And you're probably just going to try and transfer in
Sergio Ramos. That's the thing, though. This has got Sergio Ramos 1-0 written all over it, hasn't it? Sevilla go into the Europa League and Sergio Ramos wins the Europa League with Sevilla. That's what's happening, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah,
that is what's happening. They'll beat us in the final of the Europa League.
I'd be sick.
I'd be ill.
But anyways,
less said about that. The
Sevilla,
and Naziri, they're a bit of guff, one of them too. The 2 strikers.
Sevilla, they lost against Mallorca yesterday, but they won in the Copa del Rey, and drew against Villarreal in the league. So, I mean, their form just isn't great. I don't think any of us predicted for them to be in this situation, but they are going through a transition year with a lot of kind of wholesale changes. So, in terms of this group, because it is the early fixtures, we will see this before the deadline. If you're worried about rotation, these are the games you need to target.
100%. What are the scores for both games, Aaron? I'm going to go 4. 3-1.
Oh, I thought you were saying 4 goals. I was like,
Lon win 3-1 against Sevilla. And it all depends on the team sheet. I think it's going to be 2-1 to PSV if Arsenal rotate 5 or 6 players. I think if Arsenal goes full strength, they'll win 2-1.
Lon to win 2-1. I think Arsenal win both situations. So in that scenario, PSV, I think, will still advance head to head.
Who? PSV? PSV are through anyway, aren't they?
No, Lon could catch them on points. I just need to check the head to head.
I thought PSV were guaranteed through.
Well, they beat Lons 1-0. And then
both of them have gotten Arsenal are top, PSV are second, guaranteed, because of the head-to-head against Lyon.
Yeah, that's what I was checking.
Oh, sorry, so they're definitely through. Yeah, then Lyon need to win or draw at Sevilla to go into the Europa League. If Sevilla win, then Sevilla finish third and Lyon finish bottom.
That would be cruel.
That would be fairly cruel, but I think, is this not like the order that we had them in anyway? Like, I'm sure we went for like Arsenal and PSV to go through
last. Oh, I did say PSV, Arsenal go through.
Because that wasn't looking like a good prediction about 4 weeks ago, was it?
Yeah. After match day 1, we were like,
we made a huge. After match day 2, what we're done.
Yeah, because PSV were were they pot 1? No, Feyenoord were. Anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that one. So last three groups. We'll go on to the next one of the Tuesday. Group D, Real Sociedad versus Inter, Salzburg versus Benfica, just a straight shootout for who finishes first. And then the other one match will see who finishes in third. Real Sociedad, Inter. Real Sociedad, we called these two, thankfully, even though Real
Yeah.
Sociedad were
Fourth.
top four. I think a lot of people had Benfica Inter going through, and we were like, no, we see Real Sociedad going through. They've made a really good account for themselves. One of the best defensive records in the Champions League, only conceding 2. So in terms of defensive assets, really, really good.
One defensive asset, Munoz, who I have in my team, dropped because Kieran Tierney is back.
I mean, for how long?
True. But he's back for this game because he's not injured. He didn't get injured at the weekend. So yeah, Tierney's back, which means that Munoz, the left back, who's done so well, has been dropped. So that is my first transfer that I need to make. I need to take Haaland out as well. And Brace Mendes, we've already mentioned, out for up to 6 weeks with a broken arm because Etienne Capoue snapped him in half. So there's the third transfer. Now,
Are you taking a hit?
I might not. Because I need... The thing is, I wouldn't take a hit if it wasn't for my... How unsure I am about Koundé playing. Because you've got a bench there. You can still only play 11 players, 10 outfield players. It's the worry about other defenders maybe not playing just out of a potential rotation risk. So, and also do I want any other defenders? Like which team's defense would I bring in? I've said Porto's maybe, but I mean that still seems a little risky. So is it worth the -4? I personally don't think so, but we'll just have to sort of see. I think the -4s are worth it if you think someone's going to score a goal. Like midfield -4s are worth it. Defensive -4s? Nah, not when you're requiring a clean sheet.
Or a Matt Hummels player?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just shut up.
No, so in terms of this, obviously it was 1-1 when they played each other. Real Sociedad were the better team. It was a Martinez. It was almost a last minute, but
Yeah, snatch and grab on it.
Inter played a rotated side like they have done the whole group stage. With that in mind, Inter are coasting. They'll probably want to secure top spot. It would not surprise me if this is the game where he plays a full strength 11.
Such a troll, isn't he?
Yeah.
I can't see it. I just think where in the league? Top?
Yeah.
How many points clear ish? Like 2, 3, 7, 23?
Juventus are second. They are 2 points ahead.
Yeah, nah, that league's still all to play for.
I mean, them two are ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, but there's no prizes
for
second, is
they
there?
beat Napoli 3-0. They beat Udinese 4-0. They drew with Juventus 1-1.
Dumfries, he's injured.
Yes.
DeMarco
played and scored on the weekend.
Of course he did. He's not playing. Absolutely not playing. Also, I don't think you'd want any Inter defender against Sociedad. They're a good team.
If you had to guess the other 3 goal scorers
for Inter
against Udinese.
So who scored? DeMarco scored. Chanaloglu.
Yep.
Barella.
No. Oh, you lost. Thuram, Martinez.
I thought
Lautaro.
So basically, all the Champions League picks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did Barella score against someone the weekend? I'm sure Barella scored recently. Did he?
Probably.
Did he score in the game before? I thought he scored a really good goal.
I need to try not to talk about Inter too much while I'm wearing.
We'll talk about them. We haven't talked about Inter enough, is what I think.
Bastoni is back, even though I've just transferred him out. So I think in terms of the back line, he's safe because De Vrij's injured. Darmian's going to be playing as the right wing back. Also, Pavard is injured. So there's not many centre backs for Inter. So I do think Bastoni is going to be I mean, he has just returned, but in terms of the back line that they played against Udinese, Bisek, Acerbi, Bastoni, and Darmian switched for Bastoni later in the match. Well, Darmian was the starting right wing back.
Yeah,
but then went back to play centre back.
Got it. Yeah.
I think that was with the game against Real Sociedad in mind. So Bastoni.
Yeah, I think Bastoni will be good to play.
He's a good. I think he's an all right pick. He did well.
But I mean, this is a man that rotated even the goalkeeper last week, and it nearly backfired with like the what 3-0 down at half time or something with it. João Mario hat-trick, fuming.
Juan Cuadrado is the person who's going to be playing that right wing back role.
Do you think he's actually going to be starting over Darmian?
No, but I do think that limits. It's either going to be an early sub for one of the defenders, which is just synonymous with Inter. Obviously, you've got potentially Augusto, who's going to play in DeMarco's place. I think Alexis Sanchez is potentially going to play. They're just so annoying. I don't know why Inter don't play their full strength 11. Probably because they haven't needed to. They've qualified. Job done. But I think they will want top spot. And Real Sociedad in Italy, I think it's going to be a good game to watch. If you don't want to watch any other Man United drama. So, what do you see the scoreline be?
1-1 again. But
so that'll finish that'll be Real Sociedad finished in top in a second.
Yeah. I don't think Simeone cares.
Yeah,
I keep on calling him Simeone like he's my mate. Simeone, I don't think cares. Just keep on. Send him a Christmas card this year. People and Simeone.
No, I see Inter winning. Actually, no, I don't. 0-0.
0-0.
Defensive assets are the ones to get.
Don't say that. Not when I've got Munoz. On to the next game, the one that actually means something. Benfica.
Salzburg are at home. Benfica are bottom, so Salzburg have the advantage.
I think Benfica are the team that will do it. I think Di Maria's back. They're playing better. I'm not sure actually what the score was at the weekend. I think they might have got beat. But I think if the fight they showed against Inter has anything to go by, I also think for Salzburg, they're not a good defensive team. They're not a good attacking team. They're like a good neutral team. Like they're a team that when they don't really know what they're going to have to do, they're probably better. Whereas they're going to have to defend, I think, for this game. And I just don't think they can set up with a low block. Like that's just not them.
I mean, so they obviously drew 0-0 with Sociedad. It was then they've won 1-0, 1-0. So, I mean, they did well against Sociedad too.
Yeah. To be honest, I just think we're picking the bottom of the barrel at the minute with these. Like, for me, if you're going to go for one of these teams, you want to be going for attacking players.
Yeah. I think in terms of Benfica, they're potentially a shout to get for a team if you were looking for transfers.
One last hurrah.
Yeah, one last hurrah, get them in. In terms of specifics, obviously Mario did well in the last match. It was against his old team, so he had a bit of extra motivation. But yeah,
Rafa Silva scored at the weekend. Other than that, like they beat Sporting Lisbon, who were top of the league a couple of weeks ago, but then they've had a couple of draws. They're too inconsistent for me. But again, the reason why I think like maybe attacking options is obviously they went so far ahead against Inter, threw it all away. But attacking wise, I don't really care who wins. I just want my player to score. And Di Maria likely on pens. I know that João Mario used to be, but I think Di Maria's on them now. Could go for João Mario, could go for Oné.
He's just expensive, isn't he?
He is, but I think he's maybe a limitless pick.
Yeah.
He's definitely like a last day limitless pick.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd probably avoid both of these teams.
No, I think that's a good shout. We're in the last two groups.
Let's fly through.
So Atletico Madrid, Lazio. playing for top spot. Atletico Madrid at home.
Won again today.
I think
2-1.
Atletico Madrid are the favourites. I think these two teams will play like a strong-ish 11. I don't think they'll rotate. So potentially, in terms of limitless, Griezmann's probably a shout again.
Always. If you're on a limitless, Griezmann's a great shout. If you're not, Morata, just for the price. Morata scored today.
Yeah. Lazio, they drew 1-1 to Verona.
But they're away.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They're a home team. So the fact, and then before that, obviously, we knew what they were like with Celtic, but they lost 2-1 to Salernitana. I don't even know if that's how to pronounce it, but so I think that's away from home, they're not great. So again, the favour goes into Atletico Madrid. I do think Atletico Madrid are a team to target for Wednesday games.
I agree.
So if you are looking for someone, say, for example, in my situation, I do not have. Actually, I'm in the opposite. I have too many Wednesday players.
Yeah,
but I do think Atletico Madrid are the team to target for that second day. I think people are already there. People have one or two. Keep them, and if not, transfer them in. I think they'll beat Lazio.
Yeah, I think the Lazio ship sailed. If you've got them, you don't need to take them out. But if you don't have them, you're not bringing them in. It's gone.
Yeah.
You had your chance.
I think in terms of quick prediction, 2-1 Atletico Madrid.
2-0 Atletico Madrid.
Celtic Feyenoord. Feyenoord are a little bit of a disappointment, weren't they, in the end? Jimenez probably still a good shout for this game, though.
Jimenez against Celtic, man.
But this is tied up. Like Feyenoord have third
Nothing
place
to play for.
Yeah.
You could see rotation in this game, you know. This screams rotation, this game. Why would you play your best team when you're fighting for a league?
Jimenez did score again on the weekend.
Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
But I think they're going to be really good for when we start our Europa League podcast when Newcastle inevitably finish third.
Yeah.
And Dortmund choke. But
if anyone does play Europa League fantasy, Jimenez
is it even a thing?
Bet. I think it is, yeah.
Is it? I mean,
you don't know anything about it.
But yeah, Celtic at home though, they're always in for a shout, aren't they? So
this feels like it's going to be a good game to watch. Like, even though there's nothing to play for, I think Celtic have a lot to play for in terms of pride. I actually think Celtic will win this game, you know.
Do you?
Yeah.
Furuhashi.
Well, I just think, like, the nowhere near as good as Feyenoord. I just see Feyenoord rotating, and Celtic have pride to play for. Feyenoord have nothing. It's done. Everything is done.
And they're going to Scotland in December.
I like Scotland in the middle of December. Oh yeah. Let's start our best players. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Just
if Jimenez does play,
he's in with a shout. Of course he is. He's quality. What's your prediction?
I see 1-1.
I would have got 2-1 Celtic. I know 3-2 Celtic. Why not?
Jimenez scoring.
And
then last one, this will be the early kickoffs in Wednesday. Leipzig Young Boys, Red Star Belgrade against Man City. Leipzig.
Everything's sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, everything.
First, second, third, fourth. Oh, is third and fourth sorted? I think everything might be sorted for that group.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, Red Star Belgrade can finish on level on points with Young Boys, but I think head to head.
Oh yeah. So no, it's all done. It is all done because head to head. Yeah. So City are top, Leipzig are second, Young Boys are third, Red Star Belgrade are fourth. So no one has anything to play for in this whatsoever. Haaland's injured. I know that he got injured. People are like, oh well, will he play for this? Peps came out and said he'll miss the game, and they're hoping to have him back for Palace, but if not, then they'll hope to have him back for the Saudi Arabian Cup or whatever it is. Oh, it's for the
Club World Cup.
Club World Cup, but is it in Saudi Arabia? Yeah. Then you've got Leipzig, who again are trying to do something in their league. Like, they're fighting for their league. They're fighting for Champions League again. got an important, really hard-earned win against Dortmund 3-2 at the weekend. Like, they don't need to play any of their players, and that's what I'm scared of, because I've got Raum, I've got Xavi Simons, who scored at the weekend. If you've got Hendricks, if you've got Openda, like, these players are just for the chopping block.
I think this is for the players who never play, so that they've made an appearance so they can get a medal if they win. So
What,
I
the
think,
Champions League?
Yeah.
What, Raum?
Oh no, sorry,
Oh,
Man.
Man City. What?
Yeah, Leipzig as well. Yeah, why not?
First, Leipzig are winning the Champions League, according to this man right here.
Sorry, continue with your Leipzig run.
No, Man City. Yeah, Man City would make more sense in terms of, yeah, like you can see, Calvin Phillips is going to play. I don't know anyone else.
Scott Carson in goal.
Maybe Scott Carson. That's a great shout. I was thinking, oh yeah, Ortega will play, but yeah, Scott Carson in goal. To be fair, I think anyone that's in the squad gets a medal. I don't think you have to play. I think you get 25 medals or whatever, and the entire 8 listed squad get it. But still, that's such a good shout, regardless.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they concede a lot.
Bothered. YOLO.
Matthias Nunes.
Is he injured?
He came on today.
Did he? So he's back.
Rico Lewis will play.
Yeah, Rico Lewis will play again. Julian Alvarez. Oscar Bob. Who's he? Great player.
He is a really good player.
Yeah, he is actually a really good player.
But yeah, I think that
whatever 2 defenders didn't play this weekend, will play.
Stones and Akanji came off the bench.
That they'll play.
So,
but I think the role for they'll be subbed off after 60 minutes, an hour, 59 minutes. No Pep, block your clean sheet points, and then they'll concede a goal and win 3-1, which is my prediction for the game, 3-1. Nah, it's going to be more than that. I think even with the weakened team, I think it's going to be 5. 5-1, Man City. And I think Leipzig draw.
I mean, Man City are away from home.
Oh, they are away, aren't they? 3-1 Man City away from home. I think Leipzig draw. But I wouldn't go for, not only would I not go for any of the players in this game at all, I'd be selling. Grealish is probably going to play on the left because
he played the full 90 this weekend.
Yeah, but
Doku's injured. Yeah.
I think Oscar Bob's a 10, isn't he? He's like a centre mid. I don't know if they've got any other left wingers. Julian Alvarez will be up front. Don't know how much Foden will play. I don't know. I suppose if you've got them, like,
could they not just do a false 9?
Maybe. If you've already got the players, you might want to keep the Haaland. I think we all need to get rid of, and that's the thing. The benefit of this podcast is really to see what striker you're bringing in. And I think it's going to be an Atletico Madrid striker, Jimenez, or maybe a Cardi.
If you don't have Mbappe
or Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, I'll probably go with them as well. So in terms of just quickly, my limitless, basically, should I limitless or not? In terms of people who play on the 12th, I have 5 players.
That's bad, but you got 2 free transfers, so that's the 7.
So Sommer, Bellingham, Kimmich, Kane, Saka.
Good, because you know that at least you know if Saka plays.
I don't know how he's still in my team, to be honest. But Azpilicueta.
No.
You've killed us. Hakimi, Hummels, Hendricks, Cancelo.
Oh God! But no, go slower. Right, one by one.
Azpilicueta
out.
Hakimi,
not the best.
Hummels,
in.
Hendricks,
out.
Cancelo,
out.
Simons,
out.
Jimenez.
Which Jimenez? Forward Jimenez.
Yeah.
In.
Mbappe.
In.
And then Blaswich in goal for Leipzig.
In.
So, and then keep everyone who plays on the 12th. Obviously, you all know if Saka plays or not.
So is that 5 transfers? I think that's fine to make 2. and roll the dice on 3 because
Is the upside in round of 16 worth? Because
yes.
if I had limitless and it pays off, it'll be massive.
Okay, but it depends on who you want to limitless into. Like, can you justify a limitless with the defenders available this week?
I think it's more. I think it's.
You've got no idea which one's going to play for the good teams.
I just don't know who's so far this season has played their limitless and it worked.
That's also true.
So I think out of the people who have played their limitless, I finished 12 points behind them on the weeks that they played. So if I get more than 12 points than them,
Net win.
it's paid off.
Yeah.
So can I make that when everyone else is?
Yeah, you could.
So that's my thinking behind it.
Okay.
But what I think is going to happen, I'm going to look at the Arsenal lineup, see that Saka isn't playing, which then brings me down to 4 Tuesday players, and I think that's what's going to make me pull the trigger.
I'd definitely have a limitless team all lined up and ready to go if that does happen.
And thankfully, I'm not at work at that time, which is not.
But if Arsenal go full strength, then you want to be bringing in like Odegaard as well.
Yeah. I need to have a team ready.
The more you talk about it, the more I like the idea of your limitless.
So, I think I'm like 85% limitless.
Aye. Ooh, this is exciting. I hope it goes honestly hilariously badly for you.
Watch everyone else get really good scores.
Nah, genuinely, I hope you break the 200-point barrier. I hope your captain gets a hat-trick and 2 assists and a 5-0 drubbing.
For the sake of the pod.
We need it because I'm not doing anything.
But anyways, I think that's enough from us.
Yeah.
90 minutes worth.
90 minutes. That was a long podcast. You're probably going to have to do that in 2 lots, let's be honest. Thank you so much if you have stuck with us for a whole 90 minutes.
Match of the day. You got what you needed, and then it's just the dross at the end.
Exactly. It was dross at the end. Also, moving forward, obviously the pods just don't take as long. There's half the amount of teams to talk about. And I say this every time, and they last the same amount of time. It's great. It's
just because you like talking.
I do. I have ADHD. If you don't already, please follow GallowgateShots. You can become a member to them for $2.99 a month. So you get exclusive access to videos and to their Telegram site, plus a whole other host of things. So if you're a Newcastle fan and you're not signed up to be a member, $2.99 a month. If not, just hit the subscribe button to join their channel. Where the main event, you can follow us on Twitter at UCL Fantasy Pod. You can listen to us as well on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor,
all the usual,
Google, Apple, anywhere you like, as long as they do podcasts. Other than that, thank you so much again. Best of luck for match day 6. Hopefully rotation doesn't hit you hard. I already know it's going to hit us hard. That's absolutely fine. We'll be with you for a reaction to this, but we'll do a reaction to the whole group stage. And then after that, we'll be back for a draw and a round of 16 preview as well in the new year. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. And we will see you shortly. Bye now.